All right, so coming back to Coffee Cafe, we just finished paying off one of our bills, right? I taught you how to use the subsidiary ledger when you pay your bills, okay? And so now that we're done with this we're completely done with this transaction. Let's see what has happened next on the same day. So in this case, we're still on June 10, Monday. And National Bank has approved of a business credit card, Visa Gold payable, or Visa Gold credit card, okay? It has a credit limit up to $10,000 with an 18% interest on end of the month balances. And of course, payments are due by the 10th of every single month, right? So, what do we do with this transaction? How do we record this transaction?
We don't need a, oh,
Yep.
We don't need to record it in the general journal, but when we got the line of credit, you put it into the subsidiary one,
Correct.
just so we had a note.
Correct. Because in this case, right, there's a condition, right? We got approved of $10,000. But have we used the credit card yet?
Oh,
No. In this case, no, because it's a liability, right? They give us $10,000 that we can use, but the idea is that's the condition. You have to use it, and once you use it, you start to accrue interest on it. Now, in this case, because we just got approved of it, we need to activate it, yada yada, and then we can be able to use it. But for now, it's not on the journal, but we should definitely put it in our subsidiary ledger because that way we can keep an eye on every time we receive a bill what our credit limit is and what is the interest that we're being charged. So, you're not receiving a bill and kind of, you know, not understanding why you're being charged so much money. Okay. This is an agreement that you have to know is that this is a liability, right? And today's the 10th, right? We're not recording a bill, right? But we're recording the information that we got approved for a credit card, okay? Approved with credit limit of $10,000, okay? And then of course 18% interest, okay? And I think that's it. And of course, you could put the terms is going to be due every 10th of the month. Okay? All right? Since we haven't borrowed anything yet, there's no bill that we received, but at least we know that if we do have that what is going to interest this should be monthly, compounded monthly, right? Because credit cards usually get hit with the interest every single month. So that is key information so you know what to expect when you receive a bill. Okay? All right, of course, and you're also not obligated to have to calculate that amount again because it's going to be pre-calculated, but just make sure that you know that it's 18% for the APR. So again, you want to know that that's going to be divided by 12 and that's how much interest you're going to be actually being charged every single month. Okay? On the amount of balance that you have on that credit card. Okay? All right, second one is we finally received our ceramic coffee mugs, and it's a periodic weighted average inventory item. All right, so here is our bill. Right, we received it. It was for it's invoice number 126. Here we get opportunity of a term, right? We get to take advantage of a 1% discount if we pay within 10 days. If not, it's going to be due in 20 days. Okay, 20 days from the 10th of June. Okay, here is what we were quoted for. They ordered 80 ceramic coffee mugs for $2.45, which gave us a total of $196. Right, our prepayment or our down payment, which took off $100, which gave us a total of $96. Plus, we got charged $100 freight to ship those items to my store. So, right, there's a few key things that we need to know, right? We purchase periodic inventory, All right. So, how am I going to journalize this transaction here?
If it's periodic, we use purchase expense, freight expense, and we've got to make a note of the down payment and everything else on it. We did the down payment, but anyway.
We did the down payment. So here, let's go ahead and recognize what the accounts that we need, okay? So here, let's see. Do we have a purchase expense account? Yes, we do, right? Purchase expense is $61,000, okay? My freight expense, do I have a freight expense account? Yes, I do. Account number 6300. And how am I making a payment to this?
Well, we're doing it on account still, aren't we?
Yes, we are. So we have an accounts payable, okay? So let's go ahead and recognize our journal. So we know for a fact we have a purchase expense, right? We know for a fact we have a freight expense, okay? 6,300. And we know for a fact that we have gonna put this on an accounts payable because we are not going to pay it now. We're going to choose to take advantage of the terms and make it and pay it later. Okay? So first off, how much is the actual purchase expense? What did I buy?
We bought 80 mugs
Okay,
at
now,
100,
go ahead.
$196.
Now, am I going to journalize 80 mugs or $196?
$196.
Good, because that's one of the rules of GAAP, right? You have to, especially when you're buying purchases of inventory, right? You may have a quantity, but the rule of thumb is we have to journalize in terms of cost or total value. So in this case, we need to figure out what those grand total 80 cups cost me. So in this case, it costs me, because they're at $2.45 each, they're going to cost me $196. So in this case, that's exactly correct. My purchase expense is for $196. Okay. How much is my freight expense?
100.
$100. Okay. Now, how much do I owe?
196, but we didn't put down prepaid accounts for the down payment. We need to credit
Excellent.
that.
Excellent, because now we need to now redeem that we made a down payment, right? Because the first thing that we did was we recorded the down payment as a prepaid account, right? Basically what we did was we paid the vendor for a voucher, right? Now that we received the bill, we need to apply that voucher onto our bill, and that's going to represent us making that down payment for $100. So in this case, that's exactly correct. We're going to now recognize the down payment of that $100 by applying this voucher that we have for that $100. And then now that makes my journal even debit and even credit. Okay? So, perfect. Now we have exactly everything that we need to do. We have here. So, let's go ahead and finish my description. Okay? So, my description is I received a bill from All Things Ceramics. What was my proof of transaction?
Invoice 126.
Invoice number 126. Okay? Were we given terms?
Yeah, somewhere over there.
We were given a 1% 10 net 20. Okay? And we can also say applied down payment. Okay? All right. So, before we move on to the next couple pages, let's verify that we received all 80 ceramic coffee mugs. Okay? So, purchase order, all things ceramic right here, right? Did we get the 80 coffee mugs for $2.45 each? Yes, we did, right? When did we receive it? June 10. All right, let me reformat this real quick. Okay, and what was my proof of the transaction? What was my invoice number? 126. So let's just review my purchase order. So I'm still missing one purchase order, which is for my coffee brewer and coffee grinder, but I've received everything that I ordered so far. So that means we're receiving everything that we ordered. Okay. All right, and then I'm going to go back to my journal. Okay. So then now we can go ahead and go to my ledger to plug in all my numbers. So first things first is my purchase expense was the first thing that I have on here. Okay, so purchase expense, awesome right here. Today's the 10. What did we purchase? You could say 80 coffee mugs, right? If you want to put your unit, you can, but in this case, if you're putting the total value, it's straightforward, right? You could get the unit price by doing math, right? So in this case, I'm going to write that I purchased 80 coffee mugs. Okay. We're still on general journal number 3 here, and it was for a total of $196. Okay. Next account we have here is our freight expense. So here we are, freight expense, right? $6,300. June 10, right? For the 80 coffee mugs, right? Shipping, or I guess you could do shipment of 80 coffee mugs. Okay. General journal, page 3 that we're still on. And we were charged $100 for the shipping cost. Okay. So then now, let's see, we were charged on an account, so we need to increase our liabilities here, right, to our accounts payable, right? We received invoice number 126, still on page 3 of the journal, which increased our liability by $196. Okay? So that means that we'll bring it up to a total of $9,229.75. Okay? Last thing I have to recognize is my prepaid accounts, which I applied that to my invoice. So I'm going to go down to my assets here, to my prepaid accounts. All right, so prepaid accounts right here. Right, I'm going to go ahead and say applied down pay on invoice number 126. Okay. General Journal page 3 still. And this time we're going to credit that $100 down payment, right? So that's going to decrease my value back down to $7,826.04. Okay? Because now I'm taking that $100 down payment and I'm applying it to my invoice. So therefore, it acts as if this is a credit, right? But we made a payment in advance for it. Right? So I finished my journal. I finished plugging it into my ledger. So now this is what we're going to do when we need to apply a down payment to our actual subsidiary ledger. How does it work? Okay? So if I go to my subsidiary ledger, I'm going to go all the way up to the top and plug in what I know. I know for a fact that I received 80 ceramic coffee mugs, right? And I'm also going to make a note here that I applied the down payment to invoice. Right? So in this case, I did receive an invoice number, right? It was invoice number 126. Still on journal page 3. But I also was given terms. I was given a 1% terms if I pay within 10 days. If not, the bill is due in 20 days. So tell me, in this case, right, upon the day that I received my bill, when is my discount due date? When is the last day that I can pay to be able to receive a 1% discount?
The 20th?
The 20th of June, right? What about if I decide not to take advantage of that discount due date, right? And I want to know when my actual bill is due.
June 30th.
It's going to be due to June 30th. So in this case, that's what I did here, where I just put the numbers in here. Now, what you could have done too is you could just add 10 days to this, but again, that's extra math you need to do. Okay, so what I just did, I just took the date and I just added whatever the numbers are going to be put in. So the discount due date is 10 days, and then the actual due date is 20 days. Right? So this is how I apply my down payment, right? If I didn't have a down payment, what would my actual invoice amount be if I didn't have the down payment? How much would my bill actually be if I did not have a down payment?
$296.
That's exactly what you're going to recognize. $296. Okay, so watch this. So I'm going to go ahead and drag my formula down so you can see this, right? So this says I owe $296. But I made a down payment. So in this case, right, am I going to put that down payment? I'm going to put it in my prepaid amounts. So I made a down payment of $100. So what is the amount that I owe?
Oh.
$196, and that's exactly what is currently on my bill. Okay? So that's how I want you to use the subsidiary ledger, is that for this second line of transaction, right? I received a bill, but this time I need to recognize what is my original bill if I did not have a down payment. And then I apply my down payment to let it reflect my true billing statement. This is exactly how much it tells me on my bill, right? That I owe $196. And that's what I want, because this is the true meaning of what your bill really reflects, right? You don't ever want to put in that you owe $196 and then you really don't, right? Or in this case, if you look at the bill, right, and you say that you did the opposite of whatever I did, right? You left it as a payment that they owe you $100, and then you recorded the bill at $196, right? That's going to show you that you only owe $96. So for instance, right, if I didn't have this part, right, and I recorded that I paid them $100, and then I record that I received the bill and it was for $196, right? This is what I see. Can you tell me, do I actually truly owe only $96? to this vendor. No, you don't. Even though, yes, your bill says that for this bill you owe $196, right? Because that's what the bill says, right? That's what the invoice says, right? But because I didn't acknowledge right here that my down payment, right? I said that they owed me $100 because I paid them $100, right? So therefore, my grand total that I owe them is only $96. Is that true? No, it technically is not. So in this case, that's exactly why with this kind of formula that I'm using for this particular subsidiary ledger is what makes sense to me, and that's how I'm using it for you guys. But if you guys have figured it out in another way to keep a better track record of this exact transaction, then go ahead and do so. But this is what I'm teaching you as I'm the accountant and you guys are the bookkeeper. This is how I'm showing you how I do my books, right? So then if you do want to carry this in the future, that is up to you. Right? So in this case, I'm going to plug all my numbers back in here. So the invoice amount was 100 to make that 0, and I apply my discount or my prepaid for $100 when the bill was actually $296, right? Which will give me that I owe $196. Right? Okay, awesome. Okay? So that's how I use my subsidiary ledger. Now, because this is periodic inventory, this is where I can't stop here. This is where I need to plug in my information into my inventory worksheet because what did I do? I received my inventory. And because for periodic inventory, if you receive inventory, that's the first thing you got to do is recognize that you just purchased inventory. Right? So today is the 10th of June. How many did I buy? 80. What were they quoted at? $2.45. So how much is my total purchase price? $196, right? How much was freight? $100. So what was my total cost? $196 plus $100? $296. Now, it is optional if you want to do this for practice purposes only. I will allow you to go ahead and calculate your cost per item. But remember, what method am I using? In this case, I'm using weighted average. So would it even matter if I were to even calculate my cost per item? No, it wouldn't matter, right? But again, if you want to do it for practice purposes only, go for it, right? Right? I'm going to take my total cost of $296 and divide it by 80, and I'm going to get a total of $3.70 per cup. Okay? Now, again, this is only taking into consideration of just your purchases, right? We haven't even talked about whether we got discounts or whether we get purchase returns or allowances or anything like that, right? So that's why is it going to be necessary for you to calculate your cost per item? No, because eventually your cost per item can change and will change eventually. All right? Now, for the sake of this class, one more time, you could do it for practice purposes only, but again, because in this class, we will be having other purchases and other purchases of the ceramic coffee mugs. Okay, so in this case, it will change for sure because you're not having more than one batch of inventory available. All right, but again, you could do it if you'd like for practice purposes only. So that's what I have to do when I'm dealing with inventory, especially periodic inventory. Once I receive my coffee cups, I need to make a record of that in my inventory worksheet so I know how many items I have available on hand at all times. Even though you don't keep track of it, right? But at least we know we have 80 units available. Okay. All right. Any questions about now introducing you to the inventory worksheet? Okay. let's go ahead and move on to the next situation now, right? Now we're completely done, right? Because we went through 4 different worksheets. So let's see what happened here. It's still June 10, and this time we did a purchase order 17306 to Atlas Coffee Importers, okay? So in this case, we bought 125 pounds of regular coffee at $1.35 per pound, giving you a total of $168.75. And we also ordered 125 pounds of Supreme Coffee, which is at a total of $1.25 or $1.55 per pound, which gave you a total of $193.75. So in grand total for ordering 250 pounds of coffee, it gave you a grand total of $362.50. Okay? So what do I do with this purchase order?
Put it in your PO.
Put it in your purchase order. So in this case, right, let's find the next one. So here you go, 170305. Okay, is going to be for June 10. Who did we send this purchase order to?
Atlas Coffee Importers.
Okay. What did we buy?
125 pounds of regular coffee.
At $1.35 per pound. And we bought
Supreme Coffee, 125 pounds at $1.55.
Okay, so let's go ahead and calculate our totals here just to make sure that is correct. So 125 pounds at $1.35 is 168. Okay, plus 193. Giving us a grand total of $362.50, which is exactly what we were quoted for on our purchase orders. Okay. So let's see what is next now that we got our purchase orders through. Okay. Says right here, purchase order number 17307 to Restaurant Supplies. You're going to be ordering 1 commercial refrigerator for $2,998. Okay, so another purchase order. Okay, so here we are, 307. Who are we making a purchase order to?
Restaurant Suppliers.
Restaurant Supplies for
Commercial refrigerator.
$2,998. Okay. Okay, for $2,998. Okay. All right. So then, what did we receive here? All right, let me push this down so we can see everything clearly. We received a bill from Haley Burrows. Awesome. Invoice number 351. Right? They gave us terms. They gave us an opportunity to take advantage of to get a discount if we pay within 15 days. If not, the whole thing is due in 30 days. This is, they sent us the coffee brewer and coffee grinder for the quoted amount of $3,515.95, right? We got taxed $290.07, and for a grand total of $3,806.02. And then the down payment was applied right here for the $1,171.87. So now we owe $2,634.15. Okay? So, what I want you to do here is, there is some work that needs to be done on the coffee grinder. Okay? So in this case, let's go ahead and see what's here. So because there's needs to be work done on the coffee grinder, right? So additional work needs to be done, okay, before the grinder is put into service, okay? So we have a foundation that needs to be put into place to reinforce the grinder on top of, and then electrical wiring needs to be done too, because there's not enough outlets in the area to be able to have both coffee brewers, a refrigerator, and a coffee grinder to be able to be plugged in. So in this case, we need to do extra work on that coffee grinder. Okay, so what I want you to do is, I want you to put it into a random account called the miscellaneous suspense account. Okay, what does this do? Well, in this case, I'm just letting you know that because we have extra work that needs to be done, these amounts that you're plugging into the actual coffee brew, the actual accounts itself, they're not done yet. So in this case, I want to put it in the miscellaneous suspense account until when it's ready to be done and completely done and has all the costs that are attached to it. Then I'm going to go ahead and have you move those items out from your actual miscellaneous suspense account and put it into their respective accounts. So in this case, right, that's exactly what I'm trying to do here, right? So I want you to put everything into the miscellaneous suspense account. All right, and it does exist, right? That's going to be account number. It's going to be account number 19990. All right, we owe money and we have a down payment that needs to be applied. So in this case, same as what we did previous, right? But this time we're making the down payment for the coffee brewer and coffee grinder, right? That down payment for the $1,171.87 needs to be applied to this invoice. So, right? That's what I want you to do. All right? Everything will make sense as we progressively go through the scenario, because again, what are we doing with miscellaneous suspense account? Again, we're adding to it until our fixed items have everything they need to be ready to be put into service, and then we'll go ahead and move them out of their that account into the respective accounts. So for now, that's exactly what I want you to do. So today is the 10th of June, right? Let's see. Are we still on the 10th of June? Yes, we are. Okay. Right? We're gonna shove the Okay, we're going to shove the coffee brewers and coffee grinders into the miscellaneous suspense, right? We're going to recognize that we owe money. Okay? And we're going to recognize that the down payment will be applied. Okay? So again, how much do you owe on this account? Right?
2634.15.
How much was the down payment for?
1171.87.
And therefore, what was the grand total amount that you, for the coffee brewer and the coffee grinder, including, in this case, including the tax?
3806.02.
3806.02. Okay, so make sure you keep that number in mind because that's the number you're going to be plugging into your subsidiary ledger. Okay. Now, what you can do here is if you want to, on the side, if you know this is supposed to be your coffee brewer and coffee grinder, right? If you want to go ahead and separate the cost for it now, you can do so, right? But in this case, so we can do that now, right? So I'm going to go ahead and go on the side of my journal here, right? I know for a fact I have this, I'm going to make this my coffee, I'm going to make it brewer, right? And I'm going to make this one my grinder. Okay, and then this will be the totals. Okay. So if I know that my coffee brewer right now is $2,266, right? What am I doing here? I'm just better preparing so then when I do actually move these accounts out from my accounts into their respective accounts that they are supposed to belong to, at least I'm keeping a separation so I know what they cost at the end of the day. So in this case, right, did they equal the $3,515.95? Yes, they do. How do I split the tax between the two?
The brewer is $186.95.
Okay. And
just the difference. I'm trying to get what it actually says.
okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just do this. Okay, and do they equal out the total amount of, is it for 290.07? 290.07. Yes, it is, right? If you split the tax, so I'm going to make this a little larger for us to be able to see, okay? So this is what I've done. I decided to go ahead and calculate what those totals are, right? So in this case, I have my total for my brewer, or I'm going to put it down here. My equal sum here for my coffee brewer and my coffee grinder. Okay, and then I'll go ahead and put my totals here. Okay, for the 380602, right? Is that what we quoted for? Yes, 380602. Now in this case, so right here, this is what I did. I took the total amount of each item and I multiplied by the tax rate, which in this case gave me a 186.95 for my coffee brewer and 103.12 for my coffee grinder. Okay? So in this case, that's exactly what we have here. Okay, and that means my grand total for my coffee brewer is currently $2,452.95, while my coffee grinder is currently at $1,353.07. So at least I can put that in my notes when I put it into my miscellaneous suspense account. So I know instead of having to calculate it again later or in the future, right? I already have it done for me automatically. Okay? So that's what I'm going to do here. So I already hit it on my journal. So I'm going to go ahead and put in all the information because I have everything that I need for this transaction, right? I received a bill from Hallie Rose. Okay? The proof of the transaction was they invoiced me with invoice number 351. Okay? They gave me some terms of a 1%, 15 days. If not, I have to pay in 30. Okay? And I can also put in applied down payment to invoice. Okay? All right? Now, I could go ahead and plug in all my numbers into my ledger, right? And that's where I'm going to drop in a lot of my information into my ledger. Starting with the miscellaneous suspense account. Okay, so that's right down here on your assets account. Miscellaneous suspense account. Okay? Today's the 10. What did you do? You dropped in a brewer. right? That is equal to currently 2,400. What was it? 2,452.95 for the coffee brewer. So 245295 for the coffee brewer plus the grinder, which currently holds a value of $1,353.07. Okay. And post reference, we're still on page 3 here for the $3,806.02. 380602. Okay, 380602. So that's what my current balance is in my miscellaneous expense account. Yes.
So we are putting those two equipment into miscellaneous suspense only because it's not ready to put it in service?
Correct.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it applies to any of the equipment that we are going to acquire in the future too.
I mean, in this case, it's a random account. It's a placeholder account because right now it's not ready to be put into the other accounts, right? Such as the other coffee brewer, right? That one's already ready, set to go. There's nothing
Okay.
additional that you need to add into there. So in this case, it's ready to go at $1,900.
Yeah.
But in this case, right, I created this miscellaneous suspense account because I know that there's work pending on it. And even if
Okay.
I journalize it into those accounts, right, we
Okay.
remember our number one rule is when we depreciate our fixed assets, right, it's
Yeah.
usually not on the day that we purchase our asset, right?
No. Yeah.
It's the day that we place into service. So in this case, this is also a way for us to ensure which date that we can place it into service as soon as we complete the total amount of whatever extra additional things that we need to put onto that equipment, right?
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Now, is
Because
miscellaneous expense something that you will have in any kind of business? No.
Okay.
Okay, it's just in a random account, and it literally, in terms, it's random expenses, right? Random, because right now it's a miscellaneous suspense, meaning whatever is that with the amount that we have available right now, it's in the air.
Okay.
Okay, even though it is a fixed asset, or it is a fixed asset, right? In this case, it's considered an other asset, or it's an asset in general, period, right? We're just
Okay.
using this account as a placeholder, so then when we do journalize our transactions, right, we're making
Yeah.
sure that the appropriate, asset cost is correct, and the appropriate time that we actually have it to put into service is also correct.
Okay. Because it applied to the depreciation rules.
Correct.
Whether it's happened in the first half of the month or the second half of the month
Correct.
changes when we start taking deduction on the asset. Okay.
Correct. Because right now, I may have purchased it on the 10th, but is it ready
Yeah.
for service?
Yeah.
Well, we don't know. Well,
No,
we know
we
for
don't know.
sure my coffee grinder is not ready for service.
Yeah, because I have seen it that the at my older work, the electrician couldn't come. It took them a while to get what power we need. And we need to
Correct.
get permit in his head. So I know it took my company owner a little while to put that machine in service.
Correct.
So,
Correct. So in this case, if we end up missing that date, right, of the 15th, right, we were able to get it done on the 17th or something like that, then we know the rules of depreciation, right? We can't
yeah.
treat it, right? We'll talk about depreciation later on, but in this case, that's exactly what we're doing is we're taking extra steps to ensure that we follow those rules for depreciation, right? Because right now, my asset's not ready for service, so therefore, this isn't the actual total cost of it. But what I'm
Okay.
doing here is I'm just recording what the price was with the tax. So then anything additional to it will be added to it or so on and so forth.
Okay. Thank
Okay?
you.
So there you go. There's my miscellaneous expense for the $3,806.02. And let's see. We have next in our journal is our accounts payable, right? Because we recorded a bill. Okay. We just received our invoice 126, which is our coffee brewer and coffee grinder, still on general journal page 3, which increased our accounts payable to $2,634.15. Okay, 2634.15 is what we owe. And of course, we also have to apply the down payment. So again, accounts, prepaid accounts. So this is the prepaid accounts account, right? And what we're going to make a note here is today is the 10. And we are going to apply applied down pay on invoice number 126. Okay, because that's what we did right there, right? We took that $1,071.87 and we applied it to the invoice. So now we're redeeming my voucher. Oh, I put it on the wrong side, right? We're redeeming our voucher, so it's going to credit this amount, which applied to my invoice. And so therefore, this is going to decrease your prepaid accounts down to $6,654.17. Okay? All right. So now that we have my journal, my ledger done, I now can go to my subsidiary ledger. Okay? So same thing's going to happen here, right? Just like what we did to our Atlas or our All Things Ceramics, right? We're going to find Haley Bros. Here they are. Okay? Today's the 10. We received coffee brewer. Okay? For that, and you can also quote it here that it was $2,452.95, right? Plus my grinder, which was for, I already forgot the number. Which was for $13,530.07. $13,530.07, right? We also applied down pay on invoice. Okay. Invoice number 351. Okay, now I'm getting confused. What invoice was it? 351. Okay, so I gotta change my 351. Right? Okay, so invoice number 351. Okay, general journal, page 3 this time. Okay, and we did get terms. It was a 1% discount if we pay within 15 days. If not, the entire bill is due in 30. So what would my discount due date be? What would be the last day I can take advantage of this discount?
yes.
25th of June, okay? And then when is the actual bill due?
July 10th.
July 10. Okay, awesome. See, so if you use calendar or if you use the dates here and you add the numbers, it will actually look at a real calendar and take into effect that June only has 30 days. Okay, so again, we applied our down payment for the 1171.87. We know for a fact that the entire bill was for 3,806 and 2 cents. Okay, so therefore, if we applied and have this quote, it will tell me that I owe $2,634.15, which is exactly true because this was, in fact, on the bill that I received from Haley Bros, right? And if you have your total column here, you owe Haley Bros $2,634.15. Okay. All right. So that's that there, right? And because right here we have this information that the coffee grinder needs some extra additional work here. Okay, so that means when we are having those situations where we need to put those expenses into the coffee grinder, we must place it into miscellaneous suspense account. Okay. So then upon receiving, right, that was we did the journal, we did the ledger, we did the subsidiary ledger. This is not an inventory item. So yes, we can now move on to the next one. So upon receiving our coffee brewer and our coffee grinder, we end up receiving another bill. Okay, so let me push this down. What was this bill for on June 10 here, right? What was this bill for?
Great. They couldn't include that.
Right? They had to have a separate third-party vendor ship out the coffee brewer and coffee grinder to us. Right? Because look, check out who delivered it to us. Is it Haley Bros that delivered this to us? No. It's Valley Delivery Service. And what is the terms on this invoice?
COD, pay for it now or you don't get your product.
Exactly. Pay for it now. Cash on delivery. So therefore, we need to make a payment. Okay? Just to be able to take the items from this person. So in this case, right? All right. So first off, let's determine, right? Shipping cost. What is the shipping cost for? What is it for?
Well, it's to deliver both of them from Haley's place to us.
Correct.
That says above to divide it evenly between the two, so.
Correct. So in this case, where is my coffee brewer and coffee grinder right now?
In miscellaneous suspense.
Yep. Right now, it's currently in my miscellaneous suspense account, right? Because this is definitely going to be part of the cost of the asset, right? It's shipping. Of course, I'm not going to pay that separately. I'm going to include it in the cost of my asset. So in this case, my brewer and my coffee grinder is currently in my miscellaneous suspense account. Okay, so and how am I going to pay for it?
Check.
Yep, we're going to issue a check. For how much? How much was the total grand amount of shipping?
$350.
It was for $350. Okay. So we have everything that we need, right? But we need to write our check. Okay. So today is the 10th of June, right? Because it was cash on delivery, we had to issue that check as soon as we received the item. So in this case, I had to pay $350 to Valley Delivery Services for shipping cost for brewer and grinder. Okay. So there you go. I issued check number 1512. So I have all the information I need to make my description, right? I received this bill from Valley Delivery Services. Okay. Proof of my transaction was they issued a bill to me for $301. Okay. And because it was cash on delivery, that means it obligated me to cut them a check $15.12 to pay for the shipping cost for my items. Do you necessarily need to say shipping costs in this case? It's kind of straightforward because you're paying a delivery service, right? You can add that as additional information if you'd like, that there's a shipping cost for the coffee brewer and coffee grinder. That's up to you, right? But we also have a place that we can put that information in. All right? So there is this transaction. Okay? So let's go ahead. We wrote our check, okay? And let's go ahead and plug our numbers into my my ledger accounts, right? So here we go. Miscellaneous suspense, right? What do we have? We have shipping costs, okay, okay? Now let's take a look at my invoice one more time. What did I recommend you to do with the shipping cost? In this case, think about it. A coffee brewer and a coffee grinder, if they're both commercial, they're probably going to more or less weigh the same. So in this case, right, what I want you to do is I want you to split the freight 50-50%, okay? 50 to the coffee brewer and 50 to the grinder. So how much is going to be designated to the coffee brewer and how much is going to be designated to the coffee grinder? 175 each. So that's exactly what I'm going to put here. Okay? 175 for brewer. And 175 for grinder. Okay? Journal, once again, we're still on the third page here. Okay? And we're going to debit this for the $350, right? Because that is what we were billed for. $350. So, how much is my current miscellaneous suspense account going to be for? $41.5602. Okay, so this is the entire cost of both the coffee brewer and coffee grinder and the shipping cost that was in there as well. Okay, so that was the very first one that we have here. Now we need to update our checking account because we end up cutting a check for $350. So again, this is exactly why we didn't spend the money that we need to spend, right? We're taking advantage of all the bills because of this reason, right? We have other things that are priority. So general journal, page 3 for $350. So therefore, how much is in my checking account now?
$5,552.42.
$5,552.42 is correct. So I went from journal to ledger, and now because I made a payment to Valley Delivery Services, this is going to be proof that I actually received my items from Hallie Bros, because I'm going to ensure that that payment does go through. Okay? Right? So here's my vendors. Shipping cost for coffee brewer and grinder. Okay. Invoice. What was the invoice number that they billed me for?
$301.
What did I put in my journal? Oh yeah, invoice number 301. Okay. Oh, I'm on my subsidiary ledger. Invoice number 301. Okay. Post reference, we're still on page 3. Terms. This was cash on delivery. So therefore, you pay at time of service, or once the service is done and completed, you pay. So in this case, I need to edit that I did make a payment to them using check number 1512. Okay. So what was the billing amount for? $350. How much did I make a payment for? $350. So again, invoice amount minus prepaid minus returns minus discounts minus payments. So again, like I mentioned earlier, you could have done this for all your vendors. So then you don't have to do it while you're doing each vendor, right? Okay, so right now I owe Valerie Delivery Services nothing. Okay, but this is again proof that I received my coffee brewer and coffee grinder, and proof that I paid them in case they decide to come back at me and say you didn't make a payment. Well, how could I receive my items if I didn't make a payment, right? So on and so forth, right? All right. So again, I finished my journal, my ledger, and my subsidiary ledger. Now, before we end the rest of the day, here says we want to go ahead and remove the coffee brewer from miscellaneous suspense. So in this case, my coffee brewer is ready for service, right? Because I got everything that I needed, right? I got the shipping costs on it. I got everything that I need. It's all I got to do is plug it in, because again, I have enough space to plug in both of my coffee brewers together, but I don't have space for my coffee grinder, right? Because I don't want it to short circuit, right? I'm running too many commercial things going on there. So I need to have a separate outlet. But in this case, my coffee brewer is good to go. So what I want to do is I want to move my coffee brewer out from my miscellaneous suspense account. So how in the world would I be able to do that and journalize that?
Well, you would debit the coffee brewer because we have that account.
Correct.
Service.
Good.
And credit the miscellaneous suspense account.
Correct, right? Because literally, we are moving it from the miscellaneous suspense account to my coffee brewer, right? Okay, so coffee brewer account. Let's see. My coffee brewers is account number 1510. And 15010. And then my miscellaneous was, too many nines. There you go. Okay. Now, how much is my coffee brewer? Well, if we take a look at my ledger, right? My ledger tells me that in my miscellaneous expense account, my coffee brewer is $2,452.95, and I'm going to split the cost of my shipping $175. So how much is that going to be taken out? Well, I can do the math here directly into my cells, or I could do it on the journal, whichever one you want to do. Okay, 2, 4,
26, 27.95.
26, 27.95 is what I'm going to take out. Okay, so 2627.95 is what I'm going to take out from my miscellaneous expense account. And my note here is to remove coffee brewer out from miscellaneous suspense account. Okay. All right. So now that I finished my journal, let's go ahead and move it out. Since I'm already on my miscellaneous expense account, let's just go ahead and work backwards, right? To remove out from account. Okay. We're still on general journal page 3 for the 2627.95, which will give you a remaining balance of
I don't know. Oh, 152807.
So that means that's what my current coffee brewer or coffee grinder is going to be totaled, right? Because we removed the coffee brewer out. So what do you have left in your miscellaneous expense account?
Yes, the grinder.
You have just the grinder in there, okay? And right now, because I removed the coffee brewer, right now, my total grand total for the coffee grinder is $1528.07. So let me go ahead and find my coffee brewer account. Okay, here it is, coffee brewer. Today is June 10, right? And I'm going to go ahead and put in coffee brewer number 2 because we already have brewer number 1. All right, which cost me, it's up to you if you want to put all the details. Let's see. It cost me $2,266. Okay, plus tax, which equaled $186.95, plus $175 worth of shipping. Okay. Still on page 3, and we acquired it for $2,627.95. So our grand total of coffee brewers is going to give me $4,527.95. Okay? $4,527.95, right? We're just adding the $1,900 to what my second coffee brewer is. Okay? Question to you, right? Do we need to touch the subsidiary ledger?
No, because because we were taking it in between our accounts and nothing, there were no vendors or customers involved.
Correct. We didn't hire somebody to move our coffee brewer from one account to another. So we call this an internal transaction, right? It had nothing to do with anybody else involved. So therefore, internal transactions, you stop at the ledger, right? Because there's no need for a subsidy ledger. We know this is an inventory item. So therefore, that is this transaction is complete. All right? Any questions in regards to the whole process of all of this information, including moving from one account to another, and so on and so forth, and using the miscellaneous suspense account? No? Okay, last thing that we did on that Monday, June 10th here is we end up hiring LV Remodeling again to go ahead and reinforce the foundation for our coffee grinder. Any transaction there?
Nope.
No. So that means we're going to be done for today. So as you can see, we reached the bottom of our page 3. So when we come back and start our next day, which is Tuesday, June 11, we're also going to be starting on our brand new General Journal, page 4. Okay? All right. So if you guys don't have any other questions in regards